Hey guys, it's Briar of Briar Chats and welcome back to my channel. If you like honest opinions, trash talking and the occasional dad joke, stick around because I think we will get along. Now, I have gathered you all here today to talk about something very, very, very serious. And that is that 10-year-olds are ruining Sephora. Yeah, it's true. I don't know if you guys have seen the absolute mayhem and chaos that has been happening at everyone's local Sephora recently, but school's out. That means the middle schoolers are out. They got Christmas money and they are making a muck at Sephora and ruining our happy Zen space. Okay, maybe that was a bit dramatic. But in today's video, I did want to chat to you guys about what seems to be a overwhelming trend of 10-year-olds running amok at Sephora. And not just that they're running amok, but the fact that they are obsessed with incredibly expensive and age inappropriate products. But if that wasn't enough, if that did not sound bad enough, they're all being rude to us and they have a bad attitude and no manners. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around and let's get into it. Now, for those of you who have been here before, you will sense a specific tone in my voice. And that is a little bit of humor, yeah, because even though this is something that is seriously and genuinely happening, and some of the bigger issues are more serious, yeah, I'm not acting like this is like the worst thing that's ever happened in the world, and at the end of the day, everyone's been a 10-year-old and every 10-year-old is annoying. At the end of the day, sometimes I'm talking a little bit in jest, yeah, like I do think that this situation does raise some interesting bigger picture topics that we will get into in the video later. Now, the other disclaimer I feel I need to put out there is that, shock horror, I'm not a mother. No, I'm not a mother, no drama. I am not a parent, okay? So obviously I don't know what it's like to have children. That is so annoying. I don't know what it's like. I can assume and I can infer from these situations. I've obviously interacted with children. There are children in my family. I was a child once. Yeah, it's true. But I think that we are still allowed to raise concerns. We're still allowed to call things into question. And just because we're not a parent doesn't mean that our opinions are invalid. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, I am just a girly pop, so I'm not asking you to give my opinion more weight than it deserves. But I also think that it's not exactly fair when you see people trying to invalidate other people's opinions because they aren't a parent or they haven't been a parent yet. Do you know what I mean? All of this at the end of the day to say, it's not that deep, it's not that serious, this is just my opinion. But like, I think that this is a very interesting situation. I want to talk about it. Okay, cool. So now that we're on the same page, let's simply get into it. Now, I don't know if you know of any 10-year-olds or have talked to any 10-year-old girls ever as of late, but if you have, and if you ask them what they wanted for Christmas, I can almost guarantee you that something from Sephora, something from Drunk Elephant, something from Sol de Janeiro would have been high up on most of their lists. And that is because it is the hottest commodity at intermediate and middle school right now. Like, going to Sephora is like, I mean, if you were a middle schooler in the 2000s in New Zealand and Australia, it was like the first time we got to go to Sephora. Like, you are leveling up in the world. You are going from being a kid to a teen, to a tween teen. And with that comes a change in retail outlet that you shop at. And in theory, shopping at Sephora is not that weird. It's nothing to scoff at. It's nothing to even really bat an eyelid at, you know, because there are many products there. There are perfumes, there's fragrances, there's light coverage, there's glitters, there's lip glosses, like there's lip balms, there's lots of things that would be for a Christmas present or, you know, a special occasion present would be appropriately priced and an age appropriate gift to give from Sephora. However, unfortunately, that is not not what is happening at Sephora. And not only is that not what is happening, it is the behavior that is being exhibited by these middle schoolers or intermediate schoolers in these malls. So I thought I would show you a couple of videos to just set the scene, if you will, so that you guys can really get a picture and idea of the kind of mess physically that they are making.
This teenager came in and destroyed our store. Look, she poked with each bronzer. We gotta clean it. We have to clean all of this up. Look at this. She squeezed all of the primers out. Scratch the powders out like this. Like my coworker said, we don't get paid enough for this. And we have to clean this. Look at this. I'm just showing you guys to show you what retail workers go through.
So that gives you guys a pretty good idea of the physical mess and damage that these middle schoolers are leaving in Sephora's. Now, I do have to say, I think that we should hold Drunk Elephant, which is a brand that we will be referring to throughout this video, because it is a brand that is A, incredibly expensive, but B, has definitely been taking advantage of this open market of middle schoolers who are wanting to get into skincare and makeup. And what they have, I guess some would say geniusly done, is create the term of a skincare smoothie. So that is the mess that they will leave with the makeup. However, they will do the exact same thing to the skincare, because brands like Drunk Elephant encourage these younger kids or younger girls to literally mix all of the products together, make it big, like you're making potions in class, like when you were a kid and you'd play with the soap and the bubble bath, the shampoo, the conditioner, and make a little potion. Like, they are doing that, but they're doing it in the store, and they're like, yep, this is skincare. This is actually what I need. Every single product is what I need. And it results in like a $200 skincare routine for a child. But like I said, it is not, it is not just the physical mess and damage they are leaving, because they are attacking our fellow millennials and Gen Z. It is getting personal, because they, like, fine, I will tolerate a child in a mall during the school holidays. I get it. That's where they go. That's where I went when I was a teenager, so I get it. That's where they will go. But I wouldn't have dared to even look funny at a teenager or adult when I was that age, let alone throw the amount of attitude and sass that these fellow girlies have received. So let's now watch a couple of stories about the emotional damage that these middle schoolers are inflicting on us in our place of zen, Sephora.
I had so much beef with a 10-year-old at Sephora today, and I thought people were just lying on the internet. Okay, maybe not lying, but like, I went to Sephora today so I could use my $25 gift card, and there was a really long line. And by the time I got in line, this girl gets behind me, and she ends up like walking in front of me, and she's like, "Oh, are you in line?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, can I come in front of you?" And I'm like, "No. It's a bitch ass long line back here." And she rolls her eyes at me and gets behind me. And by the time we get closer to the cashier registers, you can like look at all the little stands with all the mini stuff. And I'm just like looking. I'm not really grabbing anything. And this girl, she has this big ass bag, by the way. She's like maybe 10 or 11 at most. She walks past me and like hits me with her back. And I turn around like, what the fuck? And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I was like, "You can at least say excuse me." She's like, "Well, I tried to, but apparently you're deaf." I try to brush it off. And she gets back in line behind me after whatever she gets. And I start feeling like this box like rubbing on my back. And I start moving around so it can stop. I obviously know it's the girl behind me. And it keeps rubbing on my back. And I turn her around. I'm like, "Can I get some personal space?" And then she goes like, "Oh, you're just in my way. We're in line." And I turn back around trying to not punch this 10-year-old. But I kept like cool. I got online, I paid for my stuff, and I left.
Now, I will stand by the fact that I think when whoever created humans made the evolution of stages we have to go through to be an adult, they realized that we needed to go through a stage which is like the peak annoying. Like, you have to be the most annoying version of yourself and go through it and come out better and be humbled by that situation. And that's what I think we go through when we go through intermediate or middle school, when we are going through that kid to tween to teen phase. Like, I know for sure I wasn't so annoying at that age. However, I know for sure I did not have that attitude, and I would never. But for some reason, these Gen Alpha kids are so comfortable just bullying adults, because let's be honest, they think that we're geriatric. They think that we're very, very old. You know what it's like when you're 12. You think that being 22, 24, let alone 30 is the oldest, most decrepit age you could ever be. So they think that we're old. And to give that much sass and attitude is just like showing that there is quite a difference in the generations. Like, Gen Z to Gen Alpha is hitting different, and unfortunately in the worst way possible. Now, I've seen a lot of people online be like, we need to fight back, like we need to fight back at these 10-year-olds. But I can imagine when you're actually in that situation, like me personally, sure, I'm a very unconfrontational person, but I think I would genuinely go into shock if a 10 to 12-year-old threw some chewed at me like that. Like, I genuinely don't know what I would do, and not in like a scary way, just like in shock way, if I was treated like that by a 10 to 12-year-old. So here's another example of people being tormented by 10-year-olds.
Get ready with me while I tell you more about these crazy 10-year-olds at Sephora. I'm not mean, but if a little girl comes in my way and pushes me out of the way to get something that she wants when I was already there, I'm gonna have a problem. I just heard these little girls in Sephora talking about their spending limit. Yeah, you'd think their parents would give them maybe like $100 or something. No. I went to Sephora to get Sol de Janeiro, my favorite scent, and I see little girls, obviously, because that's just the new thing. These little girls have Amex cards in their hand. Amex cards. Their parents gave them Amex cards. American Express, if you don't know what Amex means. American Express. And I was in shock. I proceed to see them in the drunk elephant section filling their baskets up. Like it was the last thing on earth. Like, that was like the last drunk elephant ever stocked. Then a Sephora employee comes over and obviously asks if they need any help. They go, I don't need any help. I have everything I need. They had literally every single product from Drunk Elephant, including the retinol.
And I feel like that leads into the other side of the coin, which is the poor Sephora employees. Like, yes, it's bad for us that we want to go and have a nice shopping experience in a place where it's never been a problem before, but now these employees have to deal with this absolute rudeness and chaos. So here is a video from an employee talking about the situation further.
Has anyone else noticed that, like, every time you go into Sephora now, it's just all little girls?
Yeah, Sephora employee here. Not only is it little girls, but it's little girls with no motherfucking respect. Like, where the fuck are y'all parents? These little children come in there like they run shit. I kid y'all not, this little girl, while I was assisting another guest, walked up in front of my guest. Didn't say hi, didn't say excuse me. She just proceeded to shove a Rare Beauty blush in my face and asked me, do you guys have this in the shade? I don't know what shade it is. This shade. Me and my client were just astonished. Like, did she really just do that? So me trying to keep my composure, I'm like, I was kind of in the middle of helping somebody out right now, but I can take care of that when I'm done. And she's like, really quick, I gotta go. Like, I just need this one shade. So my client's just like, just go. Because, you know, we're both getting annoyed at this point. When I tell y'all, I turned around and looked at the Rare Beauty end cap, there was like 6 of that one blush color. The bitch didn't even look. And not only that, her friend came. Her friend needs another color. She comes and shoves it in my face. Yeah, and I need this one too. It's not there. I looked. So I had to do a double take, like, you know, just to really make sure it wasn't there, because y'all be lying. Like, shit really do be there in y'all face and y'all be saying it's not. And it really wasn't. I'll give her that. So I went in the drawer to grab the blush under her. Y'all, her friend, dead ass, hit me in my fucking head trying to grab another blush. I looked up at her. She didn't even say sorry. Like, she was just looking at me like I was like a fucking peasant or something. Like, these kids seriously make me want to reevaluate my whole entire job. This is like their top 4, I want to say. Glow Recipe, Drunk Elephant, Rare Beauty, and Sol de Janeiro. If any little girl walks up to me and says, do you have... I didn't even say, let me take you there. And it's funny because I literally just made a video about this, but I don't know. Whatever they put in Drunk Elephant and Glow Recipe needs to be studied. Like, why are these little kids going so crazy for that shit? Like, it's not even made for them. And it's always specifically the 9 to 13-year-olds. Like, and then on top of that, these kids be having more money than I have in my bank account in their wallet. They open their wallet. How much is that? Like, where are you getting this money from? You're 10 years old. And parents, before you send your child into Sephora, send that bitch in with some respect.
So before we get into the topic of the age inappropriateness of the product, I did just kind of want to touch on the attitude problem that these Gen Alpha kids seem to have, because it's kind of scary, because I think we're seeing something that we haven't seen before. And I know that it's such a trope, like it's such a trope to have like older generations be like, these younger generations have no respect. But they meant like we had our elbows on the table. They meant like we used our fork as a shovel instead of stabbing the food onto it. I think there's a huge difference in that, and these tweens clearly having a lack of ability to interact with people appropriately. And I think this is something new. Like, this is a little bit something different that we're seeing, because I think before you would always have a couple of button pushers, like a couple of kids that would push the boundaries, and everyone's always kind of cheeky, kind of testing the limits. But to strangers, but to people that Gen Z and millennials, for the most part, the good ones, we have made such an effort and emphasis to like not treat servers like shit, to not treat retail workers like shit, to not take your day out on a stranger, because why would you do that? And when you're 10 years old, like, what struggles are you taking out on a stranger? No, you're just doing that because you're mean. And I just think that it's bringing up like a scary thing of like, what is happening to create these little spoilt monsters? And I think there is a lot of signs that this is definitely the wealthier tweens, the more privileged tweens, if we will, because like, I could not imagine getting such an allowance. Like, yes, of course, there's been inflation since when I was a tween, but my parents did not just give me limitless money. Like, there was just simply no way. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. Wow, that is really annoying. How did I just lose my train of thought? All of that to say, I think it's really scary. Oh yes, I get that it's clearly a select group of these tweens, a more privileged, affluent group, but I think it can help us reflect on maybe what the cause of the problem is. So what would also these fluent, affluent kids have a lot of? Technology, social media, TikTok, all of that. And it makes sense when you think about the things that they're obsessed with. They're obsessed with the brands that Gen Z and millennials love. Like, we love Sol de Janeiro. Millennials were obsessed with Drunk Elephant. These are products that teenagers and adults love. And these are kids that are being taught by these teenagers and adults. And there is no filter between that. Instead, these parents are clearly just giving them the money, giving them the freedom, not questioning or checking anything, but also sending them off with an attitude problem. And that's the part that I really don't understand. I'm like, is this the result of spoiled kids? Is this the result of fancy kids? I really don't know, and I would love to know your guys' thoughts. I can understand the spoiled, but I can understand the tweens being obsessed with Sephora and makeup and wanting to play with grown-up adult makeup and wanting to play with the cool it girl makeup. Like, I can understand all that, and I can even understand that these are the kids that are spoiled, that get given money, that get given credit cards to go shopping with. Like, simply could not relate any less, but I understand that that is what's caused that. But what on earth has caused the attitude problem? What on earth are these parents doing or not doing to create these little monsters, these little brats? And that is not a complimentary dollway, that is derogatorily and spoiled kind of way. And I think there's a lot of speculation. There's iPad kid syndrome speculation, there's gentle parenting speculation, and I think unfortunately, whatever the reason is, we are finding it out too late, because now we have these little gremlins that are allowed to be left home alone and go to the mall on their own, running amok, being absolute terrors and making everyone else miserable. And I just don't know, like, is it going to be one of those situations where it's like, you're too late, and all of these elder millennial parents are going to laugh and turn into the big Ursula monster because they've created these little gremlins? I don't know. And I'm sure that these parents did not want or weren't intending on making these little gremlin monster children. What was that lady's name? That super nanny lady. Oh my god, we need her back. We need the super nanny. Get into the corner. Like, she was unhinged. But that's the kind of parenting us millennials and Gen Z grew up on. Like, we got told off. Like, you did something wrong, you got told off. I got sent to my room. I got things taken away from me. I wasn't allowed to have an attitude problem because I'd get punished. I'd be sent to my room. No internet for you, no this for you, no friends for you, no hanging out at the mall for you. It feels like they have no consequences to these actions, because otherwise why would they behave like that? Like, the stakes clearly aren't that high. Otherwise you wouldn't be running amok like this. But like I said, I really don't know. That's just my speculation and kind of thoughts on it, but I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. And now, before we wrap up this video, I did just want to touch on the age inappropriateness of some of the products, because I do think we have these kind of two different issues at play at once here, so I did kind of want to talk about them both. So let's watch this last quick video.
I keep seeing videos about 12-year-olds at Sephora and how they're annoying or whatnot, and honestly, I just feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there, especially the kids on social media being marketed all this stuff. Drunk Elephant, for example, is so trendy right now, and kids are buying it literally everywhere. Like, that's their main demographic, little girls. And there are literally so many harsh ingredients in these products that no 12-year-old needs to use. Ultimately, it's just damaging their skin barrier, and whenever they get older, they're gonna be like, why is my skin damaged? I literally have been using these products since I was 10 years old. That's the problem. They've been using those products since they were 10 years old. Their skin is perfect. It's not the little 12-year-old's fault that they want to buy the trendy product that literally everyone has. First of all, I think it's sad that they're pushing these super harsh ingredients towards such a young demographic. Like, they can push a product without such harsh ingredients towards a younger audience. And secondly, I think it's ridiculous that parents aren't checking what their kid is buying and what they're putting on their face. Please explain to me why your 10-year-old daughter is using a retinol. It genuinely just kind of makes me upset, because these kids don't know that the products they're using are doing more harm than good. They just see those products being promoted everywhere and they want to be included. But parents need to start checking the ingredients and seeing what chemicals are in that product. And it's sad that nowadays kids are being marketed all these extreme products, but parents really need to take precautions when buying their kids' skincare.
You mean to tell me that these big brands don't actually care about us? And if they're making money off of us, that's all that matters? Because shock horror, like, I mean, sure, I don't think it's Drunk Elephant's intention for 12-year-olds to be using a retinol, and that's why they've kind of tried to backtrack and show a age-appropriate skincare smoothie or whatever the freak they call it. But at the end of the day, like, they're not going to have your kids' best interests at heart. And if these kids are going around buying everything up, collecting everything, like, yeah, they're going to use everything. How are they to know that a retinol is way too harsh for their skin? And I think it's quite funny, like, everything always has to swing to such extremes, because I feel like when the older millennials were growing up, they had the, apricot, what was it called? The literal sand or whatever crap in the skin scrub, and they were literally tearing their skin apart. And like, our parents' generations literally never used SPF and had a lot of aging from the sun. And now we've swung the other way, where there's this like over obsession and hyperfixation of using skincare, preventative skincare, like, but taking it to the other extreme, where it's now like, if you don't start using using a retinol when you're 12, like you're gonna look so old so fast. Like it's taking it too far the other way. I can't help but feel like it always comes back to this like fear mongering, especially with women, to make us so afraid of getting older. Can you imagine? Can you imagine your face changing? Oh my God. Yeah. And it's kind of sad and scary to me that now it's literally before you even get to be an adult, you're afraid of aging. You're so obsessed with these expensive and age inappropriate products to help your skin, to look after your skin before you even have acne. Why are you treating your wrinkles when you don't even have acne? Like, these kids literally have kid skin. They don't even have adult skin. And because at the end of the day, yeah, these big brands, all they want is that shmoney, shmoney, shmoney. Like, they want those bills, bills, bills. I don't think you do know you and me. All they care about is their products being successful. So if that means selling to 12-year-olds, so be it. So be it. And I think that is kind of the other sad factor in this, is that there's obviously no monitoring, no awareness of what they are being sold, of what they're using, and unfortunately they will just be damaging their skin just because they are so obsessed with using the it girl products, the cool products, the whatever products that teenagers and adults are using because it's appropriate for them. You know what I mean? But yes, I would absolutely love to know your guys' thoughts. I personally haven't been to a Sephora in a hot minute because there's just not one that close to me. But if you guys have, like, please let me know if you've had any run-ins. Like, should I go boots on the ground and have a look? Like, I just saw Kylie Kiki Meets World on her vlog channel, on her Kiki Meets World vlog channel, go boots on the ground into Target and Starbucks for the Stanley Cup drama. So it's like, do we need to do that in Sephora? But honestly, I'm actually so scared of 10-year-olds. I don't want to be bullied. Like, I just don't know. I don't want to start my year off like that. Like, no thank you. No thank you. I don't know that I would enjoy that personally. But yes, I would love to know you guys' thoughts on this topic, and I would love to know if you've seen any of this madness in real life. So yes, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you stay till the end, you are a real one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to keep up with me between my uploads, I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and I will link my vlog channel down below. But don't you worry guys, because I'm not funny there either. Bye!